championship. It was a very special day there at AT&T.
No question about it. Hey, man, thank you. I always you always respond almost immediately whenever I've sent out a text trying to get information from you. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Stepping into the
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
And now they try to stop a 3rd and 16. Clyde troubled again. Down he goes. And this one's Chris McAllister. And Phil Bennett's defense, their 2nd sack of the night.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Here comes the reverse again. Ramos Taylor gets a block inside the 40. He could go. Touchdown, Texas.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Smith is ready. Wynn waiting to pitch. There's a drive, right center field, base hitter, there it is! Oh, doctor! You can hang a star on that, baby! A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
We're not going to do a show today. We're just going to watch Tiger the last 4 or 5 holes on the back 9 at the PGA Championship at Harding Park in San Francisco. Art Strickland, Baylor grad, will join us from Harding Park in SFA. It's San Francisco today at 5. Hey, how about this? Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina. Thanks to Dominique Williams and also Alfredo Ferrer of the U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Command. Big-time sponsorship of what we do with high school football, and some of our weekly segments came in today.
That's awesome. That's I was actually going to ask before you announced that if I needed to pack my stuff back up. I was, saying no show. You're just going to watch Tiger. I was like, hey, great. But no, that's amazing news, and welcome aboard. We are so thrilled to have anyone and everyone that wants to come join the fray here. And, certainly I've had a lot of good comments already. I don't know about you guys about the Mac Rhodes interview yesterday. I had somebody actually in the premium forum say, hey, how can we get this out to more alumni and spread the word? Well, I don't know. That's going to be up to everybody else because, we got the show, we got the board, we got the site, we got all that. So the only way to really do that is just to spread the word and encourage people to join the premium section of SicEm365.
Yeah, and just share the app frequently.
Yeah,
with your friends.
I think what we need to start doing, and this is just talking on the air about this, which is something we should do. And I know Colt Barber is phenomenal at getting all the things out. And one of the things I know Colt did yesterday, and he'd been out. Brian, has Brian taken time off yet? Etheridge?
I don't know.
He's too busy cooking Waco Custom Marketplace food. I know Ashley was out for a little bit in Colorado, and Colt was down in Florida, and so. Colt does a great job of, in some of the segments we do, when there's something Baylor-related especially, he fires that off a couple of different times, and he did that during the segment. Makes a difference. Appreciate you, Colt, for what you did. But, for example, Baylor likely starting season 25% capacity, 3,000 views. A.D. Mac Rhodes tells us about his concerns about the upcoming season, which was it's a very emotional moment at the end of the interview. 350 different views. Craig did a recap. 1.1 thousand have read Craig's recap of Mac Rhodes, which is, Paul, like a transcriber in a jury, jury trial.
That probably had to be one of the tougher ones you ever had to do because he said a lot yesterday.
It was 30 minutes, or it wasn't 30 minutes. It was like 20 minutes, which isn't abnormal, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a long interview, and
we've had him on for some doozies
but
now.
there was just a lot in there, and it was, Jason King did his pop quiz a few weeks ago, and it was, what do you like best about Mack Rhoades? It's the fact that we get to see him like this. Not that I don't. I mean, I guess I have less of an appreciation for people in leadership roles who are always antiseptic, who are always, that's what they are. And you don't really get, it's all rehearsed or it's all, this has how it has to be. And Mack is very real. And that should give people a lot of confidence in that he approaches things like a human being and not some sort of, corporate machine.
Yeah. When he says it, I'll give you an go ahead, Craig. You go ahead.
I was just going to say that, Paul's absolutely right. And there are other athletic directors around the country that do shows, maybe on a weekly basis or semi-weekly, what have you. Very, very few, I would imagine, do a weekly 20, 30, 15, 10 during a slow week minute interviews. I mean, I just can't imagine there's too many guys in that position that are willing to do that, and yet Mack does that every week. And further to Paul's point, he doesn't do it in a sanitized corporate suit and tie type of way. He just talks like he's your friend, like the audience is his friends that he's talking to, and I think that's amazing. I think they've got a great leader. I think that's been evident ever since he took over. And yesterday, I actually appreciated that he was willing to share his concerns and willing to share, that he's a little bit worried because, he has reason to be. So if you are, then just, say so. And that makes me feel way better than him trying to, pretend like everything's okay when we know it's really not.
Well, and we know that, and we're all smart people that listen to this show and host the show and all that. The other thing is, if the season does go awry, if this goes off the tracks, how would you feel if your leader the whole time was like, everything's fine, and then when it goes off the track, if you're one of those people who've been listening to him and he said, but you said everything was fine.
Yeah, but he is, I'm going to give you guys a little insight. I kind of gave you that a little bit yesterday, but when he was talking to us and when we brought up the capacity, and of course they wanted 50%, the state's kind of basically almost pushing it to 25%, and eventually whatever reality facts, whatever happens when that first game's played, hopefully in the early part of September. When he when he said, we have decided we're going to go 25% capacity, phones among those in the athletic department and from those who have numbers to those in the athletic department started dinging because that was not something that they were quite ready to release yet. And what Mack Rhoades did, because he's always done it to us, he was as transparent to the point where he just could not tell us it was another. He told us the truth. And I know that there's a lot of people that there's some decisions that they might make he told us the absolute truth. He could have kicked that can like the NCAA's trying to do down the road, right? But he didn't. He said 25%. He gave in, said it, and you know what? It's out. And now they can sit there and deal with how they're going to work the 25% because that's now the next question.
Well, I think of all the things that he said, the thing that stood out to me the most, and it was kind of hard to hear in hindsight because when I do these recaps, I have to typically listen at least one more time, obviously, but even probably end up listening to some parts 3 and 4 times to make sure I'm getting the wording right. But towards the end, I think it was, and then even somewhere in the middle, he kind of did it as well, but he just basically said that sometimes he's sitting in that chair and he's got to ask himself if they're really doing this for the right reasons and that they need to make sure they're doing this for the right reasons. And quite frankly, it sounded like he was at a point where he was sort of thinking, what are we doing here? What are we really trying to do? Is this the best idea? Is there not a better way? I mean, certainly in the communication, that's obvious. There's better ways to do that. But just in general, the whole trying to make a season happen, he had some serious doubts and reservations in his voice, and I think that was very telling.
I agree. And it's the first time, because he's been, as he even said, glass half full. It's great you got feedback. My text was blowing up. Some that were on the SicEm365.com and others who just reached out to us to ask, hey, can you share this? Or there's and by the way, for those of you listening, as we do the show, our first guest today, Chris McAllister, former Baylor defensive end, okay? He's in Arizona. As soon as that interview is over, we have that up within reasonable seconds to a couple of minutes on Twitter, social media. And then it's up on SicEm365.com in the forums, both the premium, if it's a Baylor-related segment, premium, and even non-premium. And so during the show, we slowly but surely build as many as sometimes 3 to 4 guests to as many as 10 as we had, I think, on Monday or Tuesday in what is called a playlist that's in the premium section of where you can go to pick and choose whatever interview you want. You want Tom Glavine, you get him. You want a high school, I just answered a call. I told the guy I was not going to answer him. He's trying to leave me a voicemail. My fault. You want to hear from Gerald High School coach Amos Davidson? You get him. Or if it's Mac or if it's whoever. So that's also available, the playlist that Paul and Deontay compile. Amelia Myers has put up the graphic. It's under at Paul Catalina. We've all tweeted it out. It's got all the various pictures of who we have today. Chris McAllister. Ramonce Taylor is now on the staff at Marlin High School as a football coach under David Haynes Jr. Was a star at Texas. He's been bouncing around his college or his high school career. Ramonce Taylor was dripping with tremendous talent coming out of Belton. Great player on that championship team that won it with Vince Young and company. Made a big play, 2 or 3 in that game. He's had to bounce back. He's a story. He's going to join us today at 3:45. Marlin, with Daryl Henson, superintendent, Sheila Henderson, AD, her son Tyler's on the Baylor football team, and with David Haynes Jr. and what they have now compiling that staff, they're trying to change the culture, the atmosphere, and trying to turn that school district around.
Yeah, Marlin ISD, it needs a lot of help. It does. They have been kind of in the danger zone over the last few years, and it's been rough. It's been rough for sure. You know, they've had threats from the TEA as far as their test scores and being, what is it, Paul, like discredited or not discredited, but
accreditation.
Yeah, lose their accreditation.
Yeah, so like that's been going on, and I think the Sheila Henderson hire was fantastic. All the others you mentioned were fantastic, and on Ramonce, you know, when they won that national championship, I mean, he was on cloud 9 as the rest of that Longhorns program was, and it was shortly after when he had the big, very public, marijuana arrest that was, I'm sure very embarrassing for him. A lot of people had fun with it, and can you imagine what they would have done with it these days?
Oh, my God,
because that was pre-Twitter. That was pre-social media. So that was very public and very embarrassing, but you know what? To his credit, man, he has really turned a negative into a positive, and I've loved everything that I've seen from Ramonce Taylor over the last couple of years, if not longer.
Max Olson, all over college football. He and Nicole Arbach among Bruce Feldman and all the others on theathletic.com at 4. Mickey today at 4:30, Mickey Spagnola on the Cowboys. Also today we'll have Amos Davidson, the head football coach at Gerald. Tomorrow we have coaches from, I think, Axtell. Paul was the other one. Hearn, Ricky Sargent. Yep. At Hearn, we'll have them along with others. Rachel Barbeau, she's now signed an agreement with the Big 12 on changing the narrative. Remember, she was a big factor in helping Matt Rule and Baylor try to turn the corner. Actually, it might have been with Jim Grobe. It was actually when Grobe was here. Is that right? Because we know who was there early.
Yeah, let's not even say that name.
Yeah, but she came in a little bit later. Rachel Barbeau did, and she's now a part of the Big 12 in a way with changing the narrative. She'll join us tomorrow in the 3 o'clock hour.
I don't remember if she came across Grobe or not.
Yeah, I think she did because we did it was in 2017. Was it 20? It was in 2017 because we were at VTEX.
Yeah, but she very much was a part of Rules first kind of few months for sure, and she was one of the few media people out there that was actually showing her support, not for everything that happened, but for the young men who had nothing to do with anything, and she was a big part in then kind of trying to rehab in those early days. The message of the university and the image of the university.
It was in June of 2017, so it was after Matt Rule had been hired the summer before his first year at Baylor. Now, also today, Art Strickland, as I mentioned, will join us today from the PGA Championship, where Jason Day, Craig Smoke.
Do I have him? No.
Paul?
Thanks for nothing.
5 under. Couple of the other names, Shoffley, I think Rob Bolton has him at 4 under. Brooks Koepka, Paul, 4 under. Daniel Berger, 3 under. Paul, you got a hell of a team right now. Tiger Craig is 3 under with a couple of holes to play. Has a long par putt right now to try to save par on 17. DJ at 2 under. Those are some of the names. Morikawa, 1 under. I haven't, and by the way, a bunch are still to be teeing off now because, like, DeChambeau, Mickelson, among others. Justin Thomas has been kind of struggling around even par. McIlroy's even par. So some of the names of right now, those who are on the course and finishing up, or at least at the end of their first round up at Harding Park in San Francisco. Now, stories. Today, can you believe this? This broke me. Well, no, it didn't break me. That's like Christy Scales tweets this out earlier today. Cowboys should be playing the Steelers tonight. The Hall of Fame game. This is the Hall of Fame weekend. This would be when
like 20 guys
Cliff
are
Harris,
in this year.
among 20 names, would be inducted into Pro Football's Hall of Fame. This would be the night that the Cowboys opened up the first of 5 preseason games in a normal America, normal country, normal times against Pittsburgh. But here we are. Instead, that game's next year. Leighton Vander Esch spoke with media at the neck surgery, said he's back and stronger than before the injury. I've been training for 3 or 4 months. I feel amazing. I'm excited to be back on the field. He said he will be wearing extra padding during the season.
That's good news. We hadn't really heard an update on him in a little while since, what was it, a few months ago, talking career-threatening injuries and some of that smoke that was going around on him. So that's great to hear an update, and he's certainly somebody you're looking to see a bounce back here from.
Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, and LSU 1 through 5. Back-to-back-to-back 3, 4, and 5 SEC. Clemson, ACC, Ohio State 2. That's who I'd expect. Oklahoma, Penn State in the mix. Top 10, Florida, Oregon, Notre Dame. A&M, Texas, 13-14. Oklahoma State, 16. Iowa State, 25th. Baylor, if you extended the poll, would be like 31. At the bottom, you have TCU, SMU, and again, Kansas State all got like less than 10 votes. Baylor got 66 votes, which is not far out of being about 26 or 27.
Well, I think that's great,
That's
given
really
the
good.
circumstances, given a first-year head coach, given how interrupted everything has been, and really the most of what they're returning is on offense, and they didn't win games with offense last year. So I think that's a really respectful sort of showing for a preseason poll.
We mentioned this because Craig went to school at Robert E. Lee High School, which is now Tyler Legacy High School. What do you think?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I knew they were going to go the direction of, some of these more, I guess, non-controversial terms, more patriotic, type of feel to the schools. But I don't know. I figured it was going to be something like Mansfield Legacy did or something like that. So it's not surprising. But, I mean, what's really the difference in John Tyler? They're Tyler High, and they were John Tyler High.
Let me tell you something.
The same thing.
They were Tyler High for a long time.
Yeah.
And then during segregation, there was also Emmett Scott, which then morphed into Tyler High. Emmett Scott became John Tyler. Selman Tyler eventually became Robert E. Lee on the south part of town, the South Loop, where Craig and Jennifer went to school. And so Tyler, really, the problem about this name change, initially when I was talking to Bill Coach, friend of us, who does radio at KTBB, where I used to be and Craig used to be, he said the problem with the name change is when John Tyler started pushing for this, a lot of the fan base, they're the ones that maybe lost the heritage because they had the bigger, richer history, even though Lee won a state championship at 2004 in football. But by keeping it at Tyler High, they almost, in the end, it's really not much of a change at all.
They dropped John. That's all they did.
Yeah, I mean, the name of the city.
It was always Tyler John Tyler. I hate that when you put like Tyler Chapel Hill or like Waco Midway or Waco High. That's what it is, Waco High.
So what I suggested to Smokey was, since you can't really change the name of a town or a county, the county I came from in Florida is Lee County. They're not going to change it. What they should do is just find somebody else without that history named Lee or Tyler or whoever, and then name it after them.
So that's that.
I think they wanted to avoid people just for,
They actually said that in the vote.
Yeah, because you never know what's going to come out on somebody well after the fact. But, I mean, I'm fine. It's just, it just seems very generic. That's all. I wish you would have gone with, like, Rose City High School or something that was Tyler. I mean, you could have Tyler High and Rose City High School. But, they went legacy, so they went the more generic route. That's fine.
NFL with some encouraging COVID testing numbers. 56 players have tested for COVID. About 2% of the 2,600 on active rosters and under 1% of positivity rate in terms of total tests administered. And they got to keep it at that. Also, Lucas Niang.
Baseball had some good numbers until the season started.
Yeah. Lucas Niang from TCU, Kansas City Chiefs. They've already lost one offensive lineman. He's going to opt out of the year. Don't they have, the deadline just passed on the opt-out?
Today. So we'll start finding out who opted out.
The Mountain West Conference and the American Athletic Conference announced they're moving forward as usual with their season. They'll start on September 19th. So you have some that are as early as the first week in September, some that won't start until the end of September, but most of them are circled into the month of September. And Greg Rousseau from Miami is not going to play this fall. Who is he?
No, he's a defensive end. He's a very, very good defensive end. Micah Parsons apparently also not going to play.
Penn State linebacker,
from Penn State.
Became official today.
But Marvin Wilson from Florida State said, I didn't come back here to not play, so he doesn't understand the whole thing. So
well, you know that it's 50-50 right now, bud, right?
Yeah.
About whether or not that's going to happen. But I will say on Rousseau and what was the other name? Parsons. You're looking at big draft guys. So a lot of these potential first-rounders, which I believe both are projected as possibly being, those are the guys that are really going to be obviously the headliners on the big decisions, and those are the guys that are going to be very interesting to track. So that's a big loss for Miami, but, who knows? I don't blame these guys in those situations. Like if you're a potential first-round pick, I'm not going to get angry at you for sitting out this year just because of the uncertainty.
Yep. All right, you can reach us at 254-339-1122 on the text line brought to you by Riverbend Liquor and Wine. You could also reach us on the Willis Law Firm chat room, on SicEm365.com in the premium section. We'd love to get your feedback. You can at Paul Catalina, at Craig Smoke, at David Smoke on Twitter. 254-339-1122. The question for you is this, and we'll take these throughout the show. I saw this yesterday, and I printed it, and I never got to it. You've been kidnapped. Did you guys see this? Mm-mm. You've been kidnapped.
Oh, yeah, I've seen this before, yeah.
Your kidnappers allow you to keep posting on social media to pretend everything is all right. What would you post that would alarm your followers without the kidnappers knowing you're asking for help?
That Tim Tebow's a damn nice guy.
How about them Cowboys?
Hook 'em.
All right, coming up next, we'll have Chris McAllister, former Baylor defensive lineman. He's out in Arizona. We'll speak with him today. Also, again, Ramonce Taylor, now at Marlin High School at 345. Max Olson, Mickey Spagnola, Amos Davidson is a part of that district with China Spring and Robinson and Gatesville and Connolly, among others. Salado, he'll join us today. They move up. Welcome and moving up into 4A Division 2. This is SicEm365 Radio. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. How did you start your day? Earlier today, there's a boot camp just after 5 o'clock where there's sometimes anywhere between 25 and 30 plus who attend the boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it's really a combination of a lot of things. On Tuesdays, normally it is kind of more of a competitive thing. It's always competitive, but it's kind of almost like groups against groups. And it could be anything from parts running, some burpees, bear crawls, crab walk, and even lines or heels and hills and steps, push-ups, sit-ups, mountain climbers. It's a combination. It is a boot camp, just like you'd think. On Thursdays, it's more, not so much go at your own speed, but it's more individualized in what you want to do. You do it at your own pace. You go from one to another to another to another, and everything just kind of just gets you going pretty quickly. And, man, it's hot and humid outside. There also was cycle class, spin class today at 8:30. There are group exercise classes, 40 plus of them every single week, from spin class to spinnerville class to sometimes group exercise class, where it's like Randall on Fridays has a couple of classes where there's groups of people at 5:15 and again at 8:30. And then sometimes there's just people who are working out on their own, doing their own thing, walking through the front door to stay fit, to get in shape, to lose weight in inches. And right now, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has renovated the inside to when you walk in the door, they've changed it up to become so much more spacious and so much even more, I guess, friendly, and it was already a great place. Personal trainers, Christy London, Randall Corley. You want to do something and have them help you out, they can do that as well. But you could have, well, you got to walk through the front door. You've got to do it first. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, also with tennis classes, lessons, and tournaments. Joe Rosa and Britt Coleman. Britt does youth, and Joe does the adult classes and works the tournaments. It's Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131. One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Every man knows that you got to get it right in the bed. Hey there, Jay from Pickup Outfitters here to talk about a sensitive issue and asking you, please, don't drive around town exposing your stuff. Please, cover that truck bed. This is a very serious form of truck nudity. Trucks without bed covers, and it's an easy fix. There are so many different types of covers depending on your needs and style, from folding, rolling, locking, retractable, anything from black to silver, even paint to match the original cover of your truck. Now, all these are hard, rigid covers, just like they should be. Now, there are also some soft bed covers, but you know. So don't be driving around with a bare truck bed. It's like letting people peek underneath your covers. It just ain't right. See the different types of bed covers at createacommotion.com/covers. Won't you help us end truck nudity? Stop by our showroom and see all our bed cover displays at Pickup Outfitters, just off of Waco Drive at 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Now they try to stop a 3rd and 16. Klein troubled again. Down he goes. And this one's Chris McAllister. And Phil Bennett's defense. Their second sack of the night.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
I don't know when we're going to do this, but Paul, I sent you a clip from Kevin Hoffman's wife with a mask on as if she was him and she will now do all of his interviews, I think, for the rest of the year.
I have it loaded.
It went viral.
It's ready.
We'll have that at some point today. She tagged me in it along with a few others. It's just hilarious. Chris McAllister, former Baylor defensive lineman, joins us now on SicEm365 Radio. Chris is in Arizona. Spoke with him a couple of times, I guess you could say, over the last couple of 3 or 4 days. Chris, thank you for joining us. Paul Catalina, David Smoke, Craig Smoke. How you doing? Tell everybody what you're doing these days.
Hey guys, how y'all doing, man? Thanks for having me. I've been out here in Arizona playing arena football the last couple of years for the Arizona Rattlers out here. Did win a championship and stuff, so I've been just out here playing football and living the last couple of years.
So is it that time now in your life that's okay, do I keep playing football or do I start doing something that's maybe what I'll do the next, let's say, 25 or 30 years?
Definitely leaning towards what's next in life. I'm 29 now, getting to turn 30 next year. Body's getting a little beat up now, and I'm just looking for what's next. Anxious to get on to what's next. I think I'm excited for something new in life.
How fun, though, is that style of ball in the Arena League?
Arena's fun. For people that haven't seen it, it's an exciting game. There's only like 8 people on the field, and it's played on a hockey rink, so it's a little different when you first look at it. But there are a lot of similarities to outdoor football. It's real fast-paced, though, high-scoring. So it's kind of like the Big 12, I guess, in some aspects. Teams put up a lot of points, but it's a fun game for guys like me who just like to rush the passer and get back. It's a passing league. So, there are some fun guys. There's a lot of talent in the league, a lot of good talent, from all over the country. So it is a competitive, fun style of football to play.
Did that take you long to adjust to, Chris? I mean, like you said, being in the Big 12, it kind of prepared you for that style of football, but, I mean, it's different. So was that a big adjustment at all?
Yeah, when I first got started playing, it was a big adjustment. I was actually in San Jose playing for the SaberCats out there, and they were in the Arena Football League, and that's like a different league in itself. It's like more passing. They pass the whole time, and it's a lot of slide protection and stuff like that. So it was a big learning curve for me, just because things happen faster. Instead of 5 linemen, there's 3, and instead of going against tackles, they're going against guards, so a little bit bigger bodies for me to deal with. But like anything else, once you put in some time, and you sit down and study it a little bit, it starts to become second nature to you.
You won a couple of championships, right? It's not. I know you'd rather have played longer. Anyone would that wants to play pro football in the NFL, but you tasted some victory. You learned a little bit of that when you were at Baylor.
Yeah, we did. We won one in San Jose, and I came out here to Arizona and won one. This past season, lost the championship game. So, I was on a couple of successful teams, and being at Baylor did prepare me for that because it's very similar atmosphere. Big, a lot of crowds. And it's there can be some tense and stressful moments and things like that. So, it was nice to leave Baylor out with a championship and then come out here and get some more professional success. That was a good part of my career, I'd say.
When you were here at Baylor, Phil Bennett came in and he was brought in to kind of ratchet up that defense. I played the highlight in your rejoin of the sack you had on Colin Klein against Kansas State and that huge win you guys had. What was it like when Phil Bennett came and kind of changed things around? And we're going to need a good Phil Bennett story from you.
Okay, Phil Bennett story.
You don't sound thrilled.
Man, I'm just trying to think of a couple. Me and Coach Bennett have had a couple of encounters. It's funny you bring him up. But yeah, when he first came to Baylor, I remember being called into his office. They were introducing us to the new defensive coordinator, and guys were kind of talking about him in the locker room, but nobody kind of knew who he was or anything like that. He was at Kansas State and all that, so we kind of knew about his track record. And I just remember going into his office and him sitting down and behind his desk and all that, and it was kind of quiet, just me and him in there, closed the door. And before he introduced himself to me, he told me I was going to start playing defensive end. I think he probably said, "Well, I'm moving to defensive end. I'm still Bennett, by the way." It's probably how he worded it, or something like that. And yeah, I was, you know, it kind of was a little shocked. I was like, man, I, you know, wanted to play linebacker and all that stuff, but he moved it, and he assured me that it would be good for my career, and that there are guys that are similar to me that have done it and it's played for him, and it would work out if it worked. And that first spring when he was here was we didn't really butt heads because I couldn't really, you don't really talk back to the coach, so it was more him, a lot of yelling towards me and a lot of verbals and stuff like that in the camp. But after that first camp, we became really good friends. And you know, even when he was out here at Arizona State, I was, you know, got to catch up with him a couple of times and hang out with him and stuff. We became really, really good friends. So, you know, we butted heads at first, but I love him to death now.
You know what? I'm so glad, Paul. Great question and great answer, because here's what Phil Bennett sent to me this afternoon. I can see Chris's face even now when I told him he was a defensive end instead of a Mike linebacker. He almost cried, but my God, what a defensive end he became.
Yeah, that's about it. I was a little upset about it. I told him, you know, I didn't come to Baylor to play defensive end. I didn't want to do that. And you know, he calmed me down and said it would be good. You know, and I trusted him. I'm glad I did too. It did work out. He was right. But yeah, I remember that meeting. You know, I really do.
Chris, what was that like to be on the defensive side of the ball with a team that got so much attention because of the offense? I mean, you guys had to make plays as well for the team to win games. Not that it was like a jealousy type of thing, but was it, I guess, sort of frustrating at times that the defense maybe didn't get as much pub, even though the offense was as flashy as it was?
I don't think so. I didn't feel any jealousy towards them. I like to get stops and give them the ball, you know, to watch them do what they do. We went against them, you know, every day in practice, and it was real competitive in practice. They would have days where they win, probably more days where they won, if I'm being honest. But, you know, we did have days where we would get after them, you know, and we were a team. You know, the offense played for the defense and defense for the offense. That was something that we preached, and that was real big, especially my senior year. And I think it finally clicked for everybody is people playing for each other. So, you know, there was a lot of praise given in the public side and the media. You know, they might have seen, you know, the offense and the touchdowns. They were scoring a lot, but, you know, us in the locker room and amongst the players, you know, it was a lot of love being spread and everybody for everybody. So it was pretty good.
So this position that you didn't want to play that you turned out to be so really, really good. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but about a month or so ago, we at SicEm365 put together like the all-decade Baylor football team and included first and second team. And we had Phil Bennett on the day that we released the defensive team, and he went to bat for you. And there's been some names, as you know, including the most recent with James Lynch with what he's done. But he went to bat for you. He is a huge Chris McAllister fan, but he talked about some of the guys that were the unsung heroes of those teams. Not so much that you didn't get attention, because you did, but he really talked about how you were part of the glue of that team when they started to turn the corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's humbling. I appreciate that. That's you know, just a young kid taking a chance, and the coach is taking a chance on a young kid and working hard, and you know, doing everything with that opportunity that I could. And, you know, it's very humbling to be on a list like that. When I think I saw the list when it first came out, and I was going through the names, and I was, you know, I was reading everybody's thing, and I watched them play, you know, and I couldn't argue with anybody, you know, for first and second team, whoever you guys chose. It was, you know, just humbling to be included. And if I wasn't on the first team, the guys that would have been were, you know, very deserving themselves. So, you know, all that is great. But, you know, to hear Coach Bennett say that's really great. I just think about everything that we have been through, you know, and it means a lot that I had that impact on him, or he feels that of me.
He's loyal to a core, as you know. Chris McAllister, former Baylor defensive lineman from Judson High School out of Converse. I went to Randolph, so I was right around the corner, but about 30, 40 years older than you. with us on SicEm365 Radio.
Chris, a lot of times when we have people from your era on, they talk about that Kansas State game that was kind of the game that they remember of that season, where really you kind of put everything that had gone wrong that year behind you. What are your memories of that Kansas State game?
The first thing I remember was that was the first blackout game, and we had the uniforms, and that was like a big thing for us. We were feeling really good in the locker room, and I remember the atmosphere coming out, how the crowd looking up and it looking like like a black crowd over a black cloud in the arena, and everything just feeling electric and like a different vibe, and everything clicking as far as they were calling plays and we were calling checks, and we were just all so in tune that game and so focused. And like you said, the season hadn't gone how we wanted it to, but that game was kind of like the first game that we put everything together. And then being number one at the time, and coming into Waco, it was just a really good night, a really good feeling, and I guess a glimpse of what was to come and what we had potential to be.
You were also named the defensive MVP that year in the bowl game. What was the UCLA game, the Holiday Bowl? You had a lot of great memories. K-State's a game that a lot of people who played during that time period say is their favorite memory. Is that yours? Is it the Holiday Bowl, or what comes to mind for you when you look back on your Baylor career?
My favorite game that I personally played would probably be the Holiday Bowl. I had the most fun in that game. And it was just a great time being in California in general with my teammates for that week. We had fun the whole time down there, and kind of put it together and win that game, and kind of set what would be the standard for the next season. That was pretty big. But one, I guess a game as far as like the team and what we all accomplished, or what I accomplished in my career at Baylor, would have to be the Texas game when we won the Big 12. Mm-hmm. The last game, I personally didn't, have the greatest game that day, but what we achieved and what we accomplished was, that was history. And I remember walking off the field, and I was walking with Coach Acuff, and he told me, remember when I came to your house in high school, and I said we would do this, we'd make history. And we got it done, and I'll never forget that, because we talked about that back when I was 17, 18 years old, that we were going to get it done, and to do that is like it was an amazing feeling, and for both of us to remember that and connect to that moment was like it's unforgettable.
You mentioned, Paul, you brought up K-State. Craig, you brought up K-State. I want to bring it up again. What was the first play of that game in 2012 when you guys started to turn the corner? Do you remember the very first play of that game?
The Kansas State game?
Yep.
I can't say I remember that one.
Well,
no.
Coach Bennett said that you were smart, obviously, that there was a reverse called. And I'm not sure if that was the 2012 game. I'm trying to find the play-by-play. But he said it.
He might be. I think if I know the play you're talking about, it might have been the Oklahoma game.
Okay.
The first play of the Oklahoma game. Yeah, they ran a reverse, and it was I tackled him in the backfield.
And that started what he called a blank kicking.
Tone setter.
Yeah.
That
was I talked to Coach Acuff about that too, and he said that after that play, he knew that we were ready, and that was another exciting game too. Beating Oklahoma that time. That's always, it's always good beating the Sooners. So that felt good.
You had other offers. You could have played at other schools in the Big 12, Oklahoma State, Missouri, Kansas State, among others. When you mentioned Coach Acuff, why Baylor? What was it about Baylor that when you're playing at Judson, you're among one of the elite programs in Texas, you could have gone a lot of different places. You chose Baylor. What was it about Baylor that made that decision for you?
It was just when I sat down with Coach Acuff and Coach Browns, and they talked about just the challenges of Baylor, and there's a lot of places that I could have gone and probably would have had success at, and it would have been, who knows how it would have turned out, but Baylor at that point kind of had a weird history to it, or it wasn't as good or polished up as the other schools. and it was kind of like, go to a place and kind of help a school make a name for itself and help it become something, win a championship at a place that it hadn't happened before. And I believed in their vision that they I guess painted for me, and trusted enough in myself, and I accepted challenges myself because I like to do things that I guess people don't necessarily wouldn't do, or they say you shouldn't do, or just take on challenges that they don't always see the best in. But Baylor was an opportunity to to make something happen in a place that it hadn't happened before. And I think that a lot of people at the time when they went there, that's what it was. We wanted to, take a school and, make a name for ourselves with it and kind of take over, or try to take over.
Well, you did. You ended up being a part of that. That first play was a reverse to Sterling Shepard, who was a hell of a player. Knocked him down for a loss. Ended up dominating that game in Norman 41-12. Chris, thank you. Great to hear from you. Stay in touch. Good luck with your next level of whatever you do in life. Great to hear from you. You're a guy that a lot of people remember. And thanks for your time.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for everything. Thanks for having me.
Chris McAllister from Judson High School out in Arizona, played for Baylor on those teams that changed everything to get him in position to win that Big 12 title, which he was a part of. Coming up next, part of the national championship, now a part of that Marlin High School football staff, former Texas great and Belton great Ramon Taylor on SicEm365 Radio.
More cars, more trucks, more savings. It's the Hot Summer Savings event on pre-owned cars and trucks at Richard Carr. Hot deals like a Chrysler 300 luxury sedan for $191 a month, a 2016 Buick Encore for $176 a month, or a 2013 Chevy Silverado for only $19,900. Get over to Richard Carr now for the hot deals going on. They've got more value, they've got more savings, and hopefully you took advantage last month of the employee pricing they had for everyone. They've still got the great line of 2020 GMCs, the Canyons, Terrains, Acadias, and Yukons all in stock, and right now you can still find big savings on all of those vehicles. Richard Carr is for the people. They are always thinking about the customer. That's why their showroom is disinfected daily and why their staff is safety focused. So much so that not only are they constantly washing their hands, putting on hand sanitizer and doing all of that, but they will bring the test drive to your home if you don't feel comfortable heading up to the dealership. Your comfort and safety is their first priority. Rich Car Motors are the people you can count on. A local family dealer run by Baylor alumni. They want the chance to earn your business, so stop by today. Or see them online as well. Find them at richardcar.com or Highway 6 at the Imperial Exit. Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low-test testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High Performance Men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, hot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
This is SicEm365 Radio.
Here comes the reverse again. Ramos Taylor gets a block inside the 40. He could go. Touchdown, Texas.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
SicEm365 Radio. We continue thanks to Chris McAllister, former defensive end at Baylor. Coming up, we'll have Max Olson, theathletic.com, Mickey Spagnola, among others. We'll check into San Francisco, the PGA Championship. That threesome with Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods done. Tiger shot 2 under. Koepka's well. We'll get into that at 5 o'clock with Art Strickland. We're now joined by former Texas great and Belton High School star and now a member of the Marlin High School football staff, Ramont Taylor, with us on SicEm365 Radio. Ramont, in your life, first of all, thanks for being a part. Did you ever think you'd appear on SicEm365 Radio as a UT guy?
Not at all. Not at all. I had to make sure my ears were clean to make sure I understood what you said.
Well, we cover the area, Central Texas high school football, like as much as you could possibly imagine. It's great to have you on. I saw your note last night. I saw the shirt you're wearing.
Thank you.
We heard from Daryl Henson. We'll hear from him in a second. And I know Sheila Henderson very, very well. Congratulations on what you're doing. So how did this all come about? I know you're trying to get locked into your coaching career. Tell us a little bit about how Marlin, I know Daryl Henson knows you from Texas.
Right. So, Coach Dr. Henson, basically reached out to me, kind of, asking me about, where my goals were in life, where I wanted to be at in life. And, kind of told me what he had going on here at Marlin. And, they're committed to excellence, and that's what I'm all about. So, I took the opportunity to help me get my foot into the door of my ultimate goal of being a college coach or being a NFL coach.
You, I know that when you kind of came back and you were playing a little arena ball, and that was going on, you were also working with young players like one-on-one. Did that kind of kick up your interest in being a coach?
Well, I started my own youth association back in February 2018, so we're at 300 plus kids right now. So that kind of, and I've been coaching at Fort Worth All-Saints. I started coaching at Fort Worth All-Saints back in 2009. Coached there all the way up until 2014 until I went to St. Andrews Episcopal School under Ty Detmer down in Austin. all the way up into 2018 when I decided to start up my own youth association. And just the knack that I have, the love that I have for the game, seeing the kids grow, being able to teach the kids something and them go out there and execute it on the field, it brought joy to my heart. So when it brought joy to my heart, I sat down, prayed, and, that was God answered, hey, this is your calling, to coach kids, man, to better their life, make them great citizens in the world.
That's awesome. Ramont, who started the ball rolling for you? Who put the football in your hand at an early age and sort of guided you?
I really wasn't much of a football player growing up. I was more of a baseball player, basketball player, track guy. I really didn't, I played the Pee Wee football, but I really wasn't, like, basketball is my number one love, so I was just focused more on basketball growing up, on baseball. And then once I started to realize, hey, man, this kid is kind of good, I took to it because I knew I had a better shot of being a professional in that game of the sport than I did in any of the other sports. Even though I could jump out the gym and dunk on anybody that came in the gym, I was just too small to take those talents to the next level.
Isn't that part of a maturity factor that you have to understand? Even though you might love something, you don't want to give up a dream, but what is the best fit for you? And that's kind of like even goes into what we do now.
Right, exactly. Just I always thought, sports was all my life. I never just seen myself ever coaching or, doing anything like that. But now that I step back and realize and be like, oh, man, sure, this is the calling right here. This is the reason why I played the game, so I can be able to be a coach, not play 10 to 12 years in the NFL,
No question about it. Ramont Taylor, now a part of the Marlin football staff. David Haynes Jr. is there. Paul, do we have the comment from Daryl Henson?
Yes, we do.
Hold on. Ramont, this is about a minute. Superintendent Dr. Henson sent me a voicemail. Tell me when you got it. We're going to put you on hold, and we'll play the comment from Daryl Henson about Ramont Taylor at Marlin. Here we go.
We are very excited to welcome Ramont Taylor to Marlin ISD and Marlin High School as a mathematics teacher and, of course, varsity football coach. I had the opportunity to meet Coach Taylor in 2004 at Texas whenever he played football in Myron and track. So working out with him in the Moncrief Newhouse Athletic Center. What it means to have him join the staff, we're just so elated because not only does he have the knowledge and he's a hometown hero, he also has a heart for children, and that's demonstrated through this Ramont Taylor Youth Association. We left the home together probably about an hour ago, and the one thing that struck me was he spoke to the notion of God placed him on this earth not to go to the NFL, but to embrace and to build up young men. So Coach Taylor, his story is great. He has great life experiences, and he is committed to excellence. So we are excited to have him join the team here at Marlin ISD.
That's Dr. Henson. He was a track athlete at Texas. Ramont, I'm not sure if you were able to hear all of that as clearly as you needed to. What does that mean to you? You know him, obviously. He's told you that. Your thoughts about what he just said?
Oh, man, that just means a lot. I have the utmost respect for Dr. Henson, and I'm glad that he was able to bring me in, him and along with Miss Henderson. Man, when I met Henderson, I felt like she was my mom talking to me. Just felt like, I just felt the love, the connection that I had with her, and the words that Dr. Henson is saying. It's just touching, man, because I've been through so much in my life, and be able to have this opportunity is, it's a blessing.
Ty Detmer just sent us a text. We had him on Monday, and we had him on Monday, and we didn't know about the connection. I just asked him. I said, "Hey, can you quickly?" And he just great guy, high energy. The kids absolutely loved him. This is kind of like this is your life, Ramont Taylor.
Man, like I got tears in my eyes now, man, because it's, just I never just seen myself here, and I never just knew that I can just be the person that can just change somebody or just change the kid, for the better, because of what I've been through and what life had took me through and all the obstacles that I had to overcome, and just to be able to hear today, just to hear all the great things that people are saying about me, man, it's just truly amazing. And, I'm proud, and I know my mother is proud, and my boys, I got 3 boys, so I'm their role model, you know. So.
Yeah. Hey.
But yeah, it's touching though, man. It's very touching.
You had no idea we were going to go all through this. You had no idea. You thought we were going to talk like Marlin football for a couple of minutes, and now, and this is what we do though. This is and to bring out the emotions from you. We didn't know.
I would say at the same time that sometimes we have people like Ramon on, and it is just maybe talking football, but I think that speaks to the impact that Ramon has had. That so many people. I mean, we get people reaching out, like we have a guest on and say like, yeah, tell them what's up, but the things that are being said about Ramon, it's different, and it's powerful, and I'm you can tell that he appreciates it, and I think that's awesome, man. That's a lot of love. That's beautiful.
Ramon, listen, everyone knows what you've been through. You were a great football player, and you had your ups and downs. And if anyone's listening's never had ups and downs,
I've had them.
Hey, that means they haven't lived long enough, and if they haven't, they will. Proud of you, man. This is great. You're on track. It was a hard time. You were a star player, so that means a lot of people wanted to see you fall as well. What did you learn about yourself during those times?
I just learned how to be committed to myself and get closer to God, man. Because at the end of the day, this person may not be for me. This person may be for me. You know, I just had to learn to be for myself and find myself. You know, once I found myself, I was better to accept myself as Ramon Taylor. You know, it wasn't that, let me accept myself as this great athlete. I was able to accept myself as Ramon Taylor, the man who my mom made me out to be, you know?
Yeah, there's no question.
I'd be kind of geeked about taking the math class from you, Ramon. I gotta tell you,
All right,
and that's why, that's why Dr. Henson kind of got me here, man. Here at Marlin, you know, we're committed to excellence. You know, we're trying to get these kids to understand that here at Marlin. And, you know, Dr. Henderson reached out to myself hey, I'm going to do everything I can to get Marlin back to where Marlin needs to be and all the help that we have around here. And we have put great people in position. So I'm excited, man. I'm very excited.
Well, it was interesting. I was able to visit with Daryl just for a little bit, and he wanted to leave me a message to pass along to you, even though you see him all the time. And then Sheila Henderson's a great hire as well. Her son plays at Baylor, so I mean and then we're not forgetting about what David Haynes is trying to do. An 0-10 team 2 years ago to 2-8, trying to get better. What do you see this for? Like tomorrow? Am I right? Tomorrow's the first day you get to put a helmet on. As far as players, I think it kind of kick-started with this week. What do you see this first week watching these young men?
You know, these young men, they came out here, they ready to work, man, you know, and with the great coaching staff that we have, you know, we're putting it to them, preaching to them the work ethic. And, you know, these kids are starting to buy in, you know. Every day the numbers have continued to go up. So numbers continue to go up. That means the kids are buying into what the coaches are trying to teach them. And if we can have that and everybody buys in, you know, this program, the sky's the limit for this program. And Coach Hines is doing a great job of, you know, getting everybody to buy into how he wants to run these things around here, man. And the future is looking very bright.
Is part of it just building up that sense of community again that could have been lost over some struggles over the years within the team?
Part of it could be, and then part of it could be just the consistency too, man. The commitment and the consistency of, you know, just, hey, I don't know if I'm going to have this coach this year or this coach, you know, next year. So, you know, that is the problem too. But once you see you got guys that's in here that's committed and that's there for the kids' best interest, you know, man, it's true. There's no telling what could happen, you know. And then especially when you're being coached by two of the best athletes to come out of Central Texas. So the sky's definitely the limit.
No question. Sheila Henderson, who I got to know from conversations when she was in athletics down in the Austin area, and, of course, her son. Ramon is a great addition to the Marlin family. We are blessed to have him.
Thank you, Ms. Henderson. And I'm blessed to have her on my team and be supportive of me. You know, she's great. She's great. She has great guidance for me. She's been kind of guiding me, you know, teaching me, telling me the things that I need to do to make sure that I get all the way where I need to be in this education world. And I just can't be more thankful, more humbled, and blessed to be around a great group of people.
We have to ask about the Rose Bowl. We have to ask about the national championship and how Texas, it had been a long, long time, and it's been a long, long time since that time. What was that night like to experience one of what may have been the greatest championship game that's ever been played?
It was a great night. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the memories. It was very exciting playing in that game. I can remember it like it was yesterday, But one thing that Coach Brown said when we left that game after we won that national championship, he told us, "Don't let this be the best thing that's ever happened in your life." And I moved on from that. Game. I love the highlights, but the best thing that's happened in my life is my kids and me changing for the better as a man.
No question about it, and there's no doubt you're on that way. If not there, keep focused, stay focused. I can't tell you how thrilled we are to have you on the show. Hey, man, appreciate that. You never thought you'd be on SicEm365 Radio, and you never thought if you were on SicEm365 Radio it'd be this kind of segment. This is going to get a lot of play, Ramon, because of you, not because of us, but because of you. Good luck, young man, and thank you.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate y'all having me. Go Bulldogs.
Ramon Taylor from Marlin High School. How about that?
Yeah, it was great.
That was fun.
Really good.
That was incredible.
Hey, very happy for him.
Yeah.
Very happy for him. He's got a great group of people around him in Marlin. That's a community that's been suffering for a long time, but between Ramon and Sheila Henderson and David Haynes and a lot of other people that they put in place, I think they've got the right people. I think it's just going to be it's like Matt Rule walking into Baylor football. It's going to be a day by day, inch by inch, brick by brick type of thing. They're going to have to lay a foundation, so to speak, because the foundation is rotten. Respectfully speaking, in Marlin, I think you guys understand what I'm saying. They need to rebuild the foundation, make it strong, and build off of that. And I think they've got the right people to do it.
No question about it. That's just awesome. Good stuff.
Happy for him, Taylor, man. Yep. Not everybody ends up turning their life around when they've been through something, and he has. And there are people out there that are just so ugly that they feel like somebody should have to wear shame for something the rest of their lives or whatever, and that can bog people down, or they themselves feel that shame, and that's a really hard thing, especially for like addicts to get over, is just the shame of what they had done before. And realizing, like, no, you can leave that in the past, and you can move forward and change who you are. You don't have to be who you were all the time for the rest of your life. Right now, you could just change who you are if you want to. You just have to do it. And Ramon has done it. He's put in the work. He's put in the time on himself, and here he is. And look at what the alternative could have been. And that's a tale as old as time across the world. So awesome for him, and hope it all goes really well.
Every week it seems like we've had, and sometimes 2 and 3, like Ken Houston or Earl Campbell, whoever, right? Mm-hmm. The interviews we've had with, you want to replay it on Friday. We usually pick one on Friday. I hadn't really thought much about it. We might have to redo him. That was amazing. Coming up, Max Olson knew we were running late. He goes, don't interrupt him. He was listening in, and Max Olson next on SicEm365 Radio.
The First National Bank of Central Texas. 5 locations right here at home. Waco, Woodway and Hewitt, China Spring, Mart, and Hillsboro. Familiar faces making local decisions. Here to help you, your family, or your business. Whether it's great times or tough times, all of us need a bank we can count on. Great people with great technology dedicated to their customers and helping our area grow. Safe banking in person, or use their online and mobile apps, and convenient drive-thrus and ATMs at all locations. And look, they talk about local people making local decisions, and you can go on and on about all the things, and you'll hear what they do on these spots all the time. But they've got some great people, like Monty Hulse, Randall Crawford, Sloan Keel, Joe Barrow, Mackie Bonner helped me fix my credit personally about a decade ago. Jan Coleman, Link Harris helped me get the loan for my house. Rhonda Crawford, Brian Hand, Lisa Ogletree, and Dan Ingham. And that's what you want in a bank. It's local people making local decisions. You can walk in. They know you because you're here in the town, and it's not some, you call somewhere in New York or L.A. or Minneapolis or somewhere else. It's right here in the town you live in. The First National Bank of Central Texas, 5 locations right here at home. Waco, Woodway, Hewitt, China Spring, Mart, and Hillsboro.
Is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through, and business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Summertime means vacation time, and while this summer may be different, at Allen Samuels, you can always count on our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Brand spanking new 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs. Now 0% financing for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $10,250 in total values. America's most loyal half-ton pickup owners are Ram owners. It's time to say goodbye. Adios, 2020s, from Allen Samuels.
Ask for details.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com. Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Max Olson of The Athletic. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Start from their own 28. Here's Charlie Brewer with time. He'll take a shot down the field. Denzel Mims is there, and he's got it. What a throw and catch.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
By the way, from D. Carter 299, great interview. Really enjoyed that. It's refreshing to hear a bright spot for the youth in this state with Ramon Taylor. What a segment that was. Max Olson was very kind. Told him we were talking to Ramon, and he was really very transparent. Said, hey, take your time. Don't cut him off. And so Max joins us a little bit late from theathletic.com. Max, thank you very much for your time. What a week this has been for college athletics.
This week, last week, next week, it's just crazy to try and keep up.
Yeah, Max, with the Big 12's model being announced, they said, and Mac Rhodes told us this yesterday, that they tried 12 games as long as they could, but ultimately it was just not in the cards. Did they do the best thing that they could have done?
I don't think every AD is going to agree on that. From talking to Big 12 ADs last Friday, you had some that felt strongly that it would be 9+1. It should be that you shouldn't play more than 10, and to try and kind of keep it in line with the rest of the Power 5 to some degree. But then you talk to some folks who make a fair argument for at least giving teams the choice to schedule up to 12, because I think we all understand from watching what's gone on in Major League Baseball that there's a real possibility that we're going to run into canceled or postponed games or rescheduled games. And I think Bob Bowlesby is very aware of that, and the ADs are too. So I think the argument for being able to schedule up to 12 and kind of giving yourself a bigger window there, knowing, look, you probably won't be able to play 12, but if you try for 12 and end up at 10, you end up in a good spot. I think there's a fair argument behind that, but I get the logic on the Big 12 side. Keep it simple. Have it be more uniform across the league. I think probably a good call overall.
Yeah, the opt-outs for the NFL deadline came up today. College football's had a few of those. How do you feel like that's going to go? Do you feel like that will continue throughout the year? Like Micah Parsons is one, and then there's others as well. The kid from Miami today, the defensive lineman, Paul, I think you mentioned him. Do you feel like that's going to be just a slow trickle, or do you feel like there'll be a burst of the dam and then it'll slow down?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I think Gregory Rousseau, the pass rusher from Miami, has already signed with Drew Rosenhaus. So I think that, and that happened with Caleb Farley at Virginia Tech too. So I think that goes to show you that there's definitely some agents out there that are trying to kind of get in the ears of these guys that are potential first rounders and say, hey, avoid the risk, sit this one out. You're going to make a ton of money next year. Don't jeopardize that. And so, it seems like, some of those kind of high profile folks, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Penei Sewell, it seems like some of those kids are kind of saying the right things right now that they're not looking to. But I could see more of it happening for sure, because I think especially for these kids, you guys know that there's going to be some circumstances where, look, everybody's hurting right now. I'm sure there are some kids who have families who parents lost jobs or lost a lot of money, things like that. And, I imagine if these agents approach them at the right time and say, we can take care of you, that's kind of a big deal right now. So I'm interested to see how much more of there is. I kind of figured there might be a little bit more than there has been so far. But at the same time, I wouldn't overreact to it, because I don't think there are 50 or 100 guys out there that would say, hey, this season can't improve my stock at all. I think it's a small group there that's an automatic first rounder, even if they don't play.
Is it similar to you for the group of Pac-12 players that signed this letter and said they could boycott the season or whatever, their demands not met? I know that, Max, they're trying to capitalize on the most influence that college athletes have ever had at this point, but it seems like they're not as organized as they would need to be to really pull this off.
Yeah, I think the hard thing with the Pac-12 deal, ever since that kind of launched, is they said from the beginning, hey, this is hundreds of players that are united in feeling this way. Does that mean hundreds of players are truly willing to opt out? I don't know. Is it that, or is it like a dozen or 20 kids? That part of it is, it's hard to tell how serious that threat is. And look, I think some of the stuff we've already seen this offseason is kind of instructive for that, where, I think the Pac-12 players, they ask for reasonable things, and they ask for some things that they're definitely not going to get. And so the question is, do you do that to try and settle on a compromise and get, feel like you got a lot out of that? Or do you back up your threat by actually opting out until you get, everything you claim you want?
Max, did the preseason top 25 poll hit a little bit differently than it normally would?
Yeah, I feel like you'd all spend an entire day breaking that thing down, and now you just sort of see it on Twitter and keep moving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just too many things going on. You've still got all these conferences figuring out what to do. Even at the FCS level, you've got all these leagues trying to figure out if they're even playing this year. It's just every day is just so overwhelming, and that's just from the standpoint of trying to cover it. So even listening to Mac Rhodes with you guys yesterday, I couldn't be more empathetic to all of the things that folks in athletic departments are trying to juggle right now.
Max, how much do you feel like, and we had Mac, as you said, on yesterday, and you could feel from just not the burden. I don't know what it would be. Just the
weight on his shoulders.
Yeah, the weight on his shoulders. He's got an entire athletic department, 500 and some athletes. There's schools that have more. But all of that and trying to get to the start line, and yet also he is, we know, as legitimate as they come as far as what he wants to do with his right. Do you feel like that some that might have been more positive 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, a month or two ago, are starting to kind of just, can we get a game in type feeling?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like I'm kind of a people pleaser by nature, so I think I'd be a pretty terrible AD right now, because this is a really, really hard thing that they're having to work through, and you're kind of getting hit on all fronts. And I think just as we get closer and closer to these deadlines and these real dates where this is happening now, where you start practicing and everything, and then you're getting closer and closer to students coming back to campus. I just think the gravity of this stuff is it really hits these guys, and it is a really, really hard thing, because you have a lot of really heavy responsibilities in all of this. You have a responsibility to your student athletes and the student population at Baylor to be doing this as safe as possible, and to not set something up here that's going to cause a lot of problems on campus with the spread of the virus. You have a responsibility to, all these ticket holders who now you're going to have to deal with in reducing the attendance, and all these boosters who you're going to have to go to for the rest of the year and ask them to help out as much as they can, because everybody's facing these massive deficits. And, certainly you have just that financial responsibility of trying to make these really, really hard decisions about how do you cut back and what kind of dramatic changes are going to be necessary here. So it's an incredibly difficult thing. And I for someone who's, as passionate about this as Mac, I can imagine this is, this is just the toughest time possible to be an AD.
I know that, no traveling going to go on for a lot of the media. How do you have to adjust everything that you do to cover college football?
Yeah, it's a great question. Things have just been so crazy in trying to cover all this stuff that we really haven't had a ton of those conversations about how travel is even going to work. And now we feel like we're about to have to. But, it's interesting from our end of things, because, I think that obviously access is kind of going to go all to Zoom and stuff like that for the safety of everybody. And post-game access is going to be very, very different. And I don't know. I'm not necessarily scared to travel right now, but I think from a lot of people's standpoint, and this is true of a lot of businesses right now, they look at it and say, we're in these are tough times right now, and, not traveling is safe and costs nothing. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a tough thing. I hope I see you guys here at some point this fall in a press box here, but it's just crazy. I think in a normal August, I would be traveling all over right now, and that's not even a thought, you know.
Max, outside of football, but still in college athletics, the big piece on Texas Tech's women's basketball program came out yesterday. Marlene Stallings, a lot of accusations, a lot of former players speaking out. What did you make of that? And so far, what have you made of Texas Tech's response?
Yeah, I mean, have they responded more this afternoon? If they have,
no, I have not seen anything other than what Craig sent out to us.
They said they were going to talk to her or whatever, but there was no firing. But that was the last I had seen.
Yeah.
No, it's a first of all, nothing but respect for how Jory Epstein and the Intercollegiate worked together to produce that reporting, because it's a pretty unbelievable. I mean, it's a pretty incredible story of just how toxic a culture can become on a college team, especially when you sort of are looking the other way. I mean, I think the fact that all these players have been saying all this stuff in their kind of end of the year reports, and it still gets ignored, is really frustrating. And you just see the psychological toll and mental health toll it's had on these girls. It's really, I mean, it's just really tragic to read that story and just some of the details about how that program is being run. I can't imagine, I can't imagine you can build a successful program doing the things they're doing, and so I would, Kirby Hocutt, doesn't look good in all of this, and I think he needs to he needs to take decisive action on this, because clearly they've let this thing go on for too long.
Thanks, Max. Good luck. We'll hopefully we see you down the road somewhere at a press box near you. Thanks for your time, and good luck covering whatever changes from day to day.
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Take care,
Max
guys.
Olson with us, theathletic.com. And Mickey Spagnola will join us in the next segment.
Yeah, that Texas Tech story was pretty bad stuff. And, maybe I feel like if it was Kim, and this is not like oh my gosh, if it was a Baylor thing, even though I kind of alluded to that yesterday, but can you imagine if this was Kim Mulkey instead of Marlene Stallings?
It would have been hard to even get through or even want to go on social media, because as we know, the media in our profession in this country picks and chooses who they want to decipher or they take down.
And I think
that's so sickening.
It is, and I think that the media has definitely talked about the story, touched on this story, but I just know that if it was a Kim Mulkey or a Gino or someone like that, it would have been,
because they've already run afoul of the social media mob.
Right, exactly.
They've
so
already
been determined guilty of everything.
I mean, imagine she made the comment after they beat West Virginia to win the Big 12 title like 6 or 7 years ago, and how that went. I was on Outside the Lines the next day.
Right.
And it was just a comment. It was just, fighting for her university. Imagine now, this is something that is
selling
really
a player's or giving away a player's dog, allegedly.
I read the article. I read almost every word of it, especially because when I first saw Aaron DeGrate's name a mission, and I reached out to her, haven't heard back from her, and that's fine. But I read it, and then I was like, what? That was great. There's a lot of
it was a good article,
facts and evidence, but I never heard from anybody that was on the team, and like I said, they were probably not made available. You would think that they would have been made available.
Well, yeah, one of the things Kirby Hocutt said last night was that they had talked to, the members of the team, and I said in our text message, like, what about the 12 who left? 12 players transferred while she's been in charge.
And I saw some of the feedback from Tech fans, which was interesting, and some of it was, everyone knows that these were disgruntled players. Well, no kidding. There might have been a reason they were disgruntled.
It's kind of, maybe a program issue if there's 12 players. Again, that is not normal. There is no way you can say they're disgruntled or you can say they're spoiled. Or you can say whatever you want to, but it's not a player thing when 12 of them are electing to transfer in a short time period. That is a program issue. So I've actually seen some Tech fans that have echoed their disgust, and that's great. But, of course, there is that minority in any fan base that's just the ugliest part of your fan base that is, somehow it's not Tech's fault. It's these players are disgruntled. People like you, whoever you are who's out there saying that, you are terrible. You are a terrible person. But I did have another note because I don't want to spend too much more time on them since there's not really an update from yesterday. But How about this for COVID-related college football news? So yesterday made mention of the story that Louisville had a big outbreak because the players had a party, and so like double-digit number of athletes ended up testing positive for COVID, and they had to like cease workouts for a few of the programs or whatnot. I wonder if this is something that many college players have really thought through. I think they've thought probably about, scholarships and what risk and whatnot. But after that Louisville story yesterday, today the school announces it has dismissed 3 members of the men's soccer team who threw the party on Saturday that led to 29 positive COVID-19 tests. So those 3 are now off the team and
goodbye.
Yeah.
Caleb Beams,
Hope
who
you had fun.
is at Channel 9 at Lufkin, where I started back in 1981. McNeese football, Lamar football delaying their fall camp. SFA, though, starting tomorrow. Head coach Kobe Carthel. So it looks like they'll start their fall camp starting tomorrow. When we come back, Mickey Spagnola, Leighton Vander Esch spoke. Mari Cooper this week. Some of the players starting to be heard. Mickey Spagnola joins us up next. Also, Art Strickland from the PGA Championship at 5. This is SicEm365 Radio. Pioneer, steel and pipe. Heavy duty, bulky, large, metal, steel, pipe, things you build in big buildings with, whether it's a metal building, which has become, of course, something not just lately, but like even metal roofing, which has become a more popular thing of late, and really in recent years. Heavy enough that you need them to deliver, and they will. Heavy enough to where they'll need to help you, not help you, they'll unload it for you at whatever site it might be, whether it's a construction site, whether it's at your home or a new area, or even if it's like outside the perimeters of what you have, if you have a large ranch or big landscaping that needs to be like fenced in. They can do that as well. 77 years in business. 77 years in business since 1943. Embry and family, Pioneer Steel and Pipe, they do a great job. They grow all the time. And oh, by the way, on top of that, they also, when they say customer service, they mean it. 80 years. Product is great. Customer service is great. Family atmosphere is great. They're great. And I've been out to their place 2 or 3 times, went out there and saw Braden, sat down with him and talked about the show. He loves SicEm365 Radio, and we love the fact they're a part of it. Pioneer Steel and Pipe, open on Saturdays if you can't get there during the week, 8 until noon. Pioneer Boys, pioneerboys.com. Do you love Friday Night Lights? Would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help you and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
What are you supposed to do when you pull up behind a truck that doesn't even have a hitch? I mean, it's like looking at plumber's crack. Do you cover your kids' eyes, look away, and switch radio stations? Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, asking for your help to end this embarrassing form of truck nudity. If you have a truck, at some point you need to pull something. It could be a trailer to haul stuff off to the dump, maybe a jet ski, a boat, an RV, a horse trailer, even just a bike rack. The point is, put a hitch on your truck's backside. And at Pickup Outfitters, we actually install more hitches than anything else. Whether it's a receiver hitch, a gooseneck, or a fifth wheel, we'll cover your aspirations to not drive a nude truck. And all hitches are covered by the Pickup Outfitters lifetime installation guarantee. So cover your rear end with a new hitch from Pickup Outfitters on Lake Air Drive in Waco, where we're fighting to end truck nudity in Central Texas. Check them out on our website at createacommotion.com/hitches.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com.
Prescott going to keep it all. What a zone read. Look at Dak Prescott with room to roll. Prescott still going down to the 20.
Here we go, SicEm365 Radio. The Ramonce Taylor cell phone apparently is blowing up from the segment on SicEm365. Just got that from Sheila, among others. Mickey Spagnola joins us, SicEm365 Radio from DallasCowboys.com. So we can get into Leighton Vander Esch, Amari Cooper, players starting to have a chance to visit with these Zoom media sessions. But, Mickey, tell us about Thomas, Hollywood, Henderson, Everson, Walls, and your Cowboys hour with them.
I hope you were able to see it. It was a pretty interesting deal. You know, it was a couple of weeks ago. I got this notice that the Black College Football Hall of Fame was going to do a presentation online on their website on some of the guys that had made it to the Hall of Fame by going to historically black colleges and universities. And so I watched it, and I thought it was fascinating that some names came up that I had no idea that they had gone to schools like that, and big names. You know, I knew the Cowboy players that had gone to HBCUs, but didn't realize there was that many guys, you know, like Art Shell. I should have known that, right? So I was thinking, and I said, you know, this would be interesting to talk to Everson about it. He had gone to Grambling State, and I asked him. I said, "You got anybody, you know, you think we can get on together with us and talk about it?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Hollywood owes me a favor. I'll give Hollywood a call." So we got Thomas Henderson on. Went to Langston in Oklahoma, and I just thought they had. I didn't have to do much, right? They just had great stories about what it was like, not only playing for schools like that, but how those schools helped them become the players they were in the NFL and the men that they became at that time when a lot of those opportunities, not so much for Everson, but Thomas Henderson and guys before that were forced to go to HBCUs because there was a lot of the schools in the South were still not bringing in black players at that time, especially in the 60s and early 70s. So, yeah, I'm glad you knew about that because I enjoyed the hour. I don't know if anybody else did, but I enjoyed it immensely. And I'll tell you a quick story, David. When I was working in Jackson, Mississippi, and I wish I could remember the player's name, but we were doing these neat, long features on a former athlete from the state of Mississippi and coordinated with the little towns that they had grown up in. So it was kind of a twofold thing. And I went to this little town and I was talking to this guy. He was a defensive end, and he ended up going to Michigan State. And he was telling me all the stuff he did in high school, right? And so this would have been, probably went to Michigan State like mid to late 60s. And he was telling me all he did in high school. And naive me, right, asked him, gosh, if you were that good, you didn't get any offers from Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Southern Mississippi? And he looked at me and he goes, son, where did you grow up? And I said, in Chicago. He goes, you got to realize those opportunities for guys like me weren't available back then.
Yep.
I felt like, can I crawl in a hole? It's like, dummy.
Yeah.
Of course they weren't, right?
Yeah. Hey, Mickey, that's a great story. Mickey, when you've been in, I guess, any type of business long enough, you kind of become, I guess, desensitized to seeing like a famous person, or in your case, a famous athlete or something like that. But who was like maybe the first guy you saw when you started working, or who's somebody maybe even still to this day that gives you sort of that fan feeling as opposed to kind of like being the hardened media?
In 1983, I had the opportunity to cover the 50th anniversary of the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. And it was in Chicago. And it was at Comiskey Park. And I grew up in Comiskey Park. We went to so many games, right? So I was a huge Chicago White Sox fan all through the 60s, the 70s. And my guy growing up when I was a kid was Louis Aparicio, shortstop, right?
Yep.
Kind of my size. He was fast. When I was younger, I was fast. and so I kind of identified with him. Well, he was on that team and on the guys, the Legends team. And we got to go in the locker room. They gave us old baseball cards of these guys, and we could go in there and interview, right? And so there was a bunch of people around Aparicio's locker, and I went over there, and I couldn't ask him a question. It was like, I can't ask Louis Aparicio a question after I just, idolized him growing up, and I choked. I didn't do it, So the next time I had an opportunity like that, and this would have been the year Troy Aikman ended up getting selected in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And about 2 days before, it was a Thursday night at the Super Bowl, 2 days before the election, Bart Starr was doing a presentation. Now, he was my other guy. I think David knows this. I grew up a Green Bay Packers fan, even though I grew up in Chicago. I read everything they did from 1960 on. Anything Lombardi said, I was reading it. If it was a book, I was reading it. So here's Bart Starr. And I said, I got to ask him this question about Troy Aikman. And so I go up to him and I said, there's a lot of people basically trying to downplay Aikman's career because he played with so many great players that, his stats don't measure up to people that go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And he looked at me and he started talking, answering my question as he was poking me in the chest, saying, stats don't matter. All that matters is, do you win? Can you win? And with each word, he's poking me in the chest, right? And I'm sitting there, and I finished. I walked off. I go, Bart Starr poked me in the chest. And I'm a grown man at this point.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think Joe Gibbs got me a little bit. One time we were walking around. Osborne, when he came to Tyler, he came in for actually was a political thing. And that was something that just because, they're, golly, I mean, there's, of course, God, I wish the hell they were still coaching my favorite teams.
Well, Joe Gibbs, we had to chase him around
I
the
had to
room.
walk with him. And I'll tell you what, Gibbs has got a little bit of an edge to him, but I think he realized I was trying to get him on, and he was great. Of course, once he started talking. Craig, what about when you did some of the guys?
Conor McGregor was
Conor
a big one for
McGregor,
me. I mean, sadly, that's why I kind of asked the questions, because being spoiled and having grown up around a lot of these athletes, there are some that I go, oh, wow, but it's more or less like the UFC guy or the other celebrity that really makes me go, oh my gosh, like that's incredible. I'm kind of desensitized in a sad way.
Yeah, mine probably would have been Troy Aikman when we had him, and because I had never met him before, Mickey, but he was my favorite player growing up, and we were in New Orleans, and I asked him a question, and he said, that's a great question, Paul. And in my head, I thought, that's it, he knows my name. We're friends now. Yeah. I guess we're getting beers after this.
Follow him on Twitter.
Well, I'll tell you another funny one, and this would have been my first year out of college. I was covering an Atlanta Falcons game. It was Steve Bartkowski's rookie year, 75. And I needed to do something on the Falcons defense after the game. So I go up to Tommy Nobis's locker, right? And if you guys don't know Tommy Nobis, so he's basically got a shaved head. Now he's got some hair on the side, but he's almost practically bald. He's got his eye black still on. And I look in the locker, and hanging on a hook in the locker is this skull with hair hanging down from it. And I looked at him and I go, I think I'll go talk to somebody else.
What in the world?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we haven't even asked you a Cowboys question yet, Mickey.
Hell, who cares?
That's my fault. It's my fault.
But it's about to start up. How strange are things right now? I know that have you been back at all? You can't go back yet, right? You have to get tested and all this stuff.
Yeah, I think maybe the last time I was in the building was March 24th. So I'm guessing at some point late next week, we'll go back in once they at least start doing their kind of OTA / mini camp practices at the end of the week. And then for sure, when things crank up, when they put the pads on the 17th, we should at least be allowed back in the building. I don't know if that will be allowed on the field to watch practice, but I'm fortunate enough, once they're outside on the grass field, I can basically watch practice from my desk. So I think we'll be back then. And then, we've got all these TV shows we normally do during training camp that usually are on Fox Sports Southwest. So I'm not sure if we're going to do them in the studio or if we're going to continue to do them. Initially, I know we will. We'll do them, virtually, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, I haven't been there. The most I've done is to drive through the parking lot, and that's it.
Yeah, it's different. The Amari Cooper was on Zoom earlier this week, and we've heard a little bit about what he's had to say. Obviously, today, Leighton Vander Esch. How often have you been able to be in the middle of all that as far as by watching and listening on Zoom? Anything you take out of either ones if you got a chance to listen to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I made the cut for the list. I thought they were, the guys have been pretty good on that stuff. Vander Esch today, and I had known this, at least a month or so ago. We did an interview on our Mix Shots podcast on DallasCowboys.com with his agent, and he's a local guy here in the Dallas area. And he told us back then, he goes, had they started the off season on time, Leighton Vander Esch was ready to go. And whenever they started, if they started OTAs on time or mini camp, he would have bbeen ready to go, that he had recovered and he was chomping at the bit, and basically told us that that Vander has told him, this is the best I've felt in years after having the neck surgery. And so that's basically what he said today. And when he got asked one too many questions about the surgery and recovery and is he worried or thinking about it, he said, you know what? I'm not wasting any more time talking about it. I'm done with it. I'm fine, pumped, ready to go. I thought that was pretty interesting. The fact that he kind of hedged his bets on him moving in the middle and Jalen Smith going to the weak side, and he kind of portrayed it as interchangeable. Then he said, but if you want to call me the Mike, call me the Mike. And then just the fact that how much he missed last year. He only played 9 games before they put him on injured reserve. And he's just chomping at the bit to get back out there. And that sounds like a good thing.
Mickey, real quick because we're short on time, but DeMarcus Lawrence, I guess opting in, so to speak. He had a first child recently. I guess maybe there were some thoughts he could sit out, but he's all in. So was that unexpected in any way?
No, not at all. I didn't think he was going to miss anything.
Okay.
You know, he jumped in. Think about it. He jumped in with his tweet the same time everybody else did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking this was a NFLPA coordinated effort because they still hadn't gotten all the things from the financial part of the CBA to start the season. If you think about it, that was the last hang-up. Mm-hmm. And so I thought it was a veiled attempt by some of the players to act like, yeah, I'm not sure I want to play. Mm-hmm. And it was more like they didn't want to say, hey, you haven't told us about the finance yet.
Gotcha. Mickey, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Mickey Spagnola with us. Love reminiscing about the interviews and someone who might made you freeze a little bit. Thanks for your time.
Sure.
Mickey Spagnola with us Thursdays at 4:30 on SicEm365 Radio. Mickey and I have been doing segments since back like 91 or 2. 1 or 2. When we come back, Amos Davidson, the head coach at Jarrell, they're moving up to 4A Division II. He's next from Jarrell High School on SicEm365 Radio. Bed covers, bed liners, lay in and spray in. Bed covers, security, shelter from the elements of the sun, the dust, the rain that keep things off whatever stuff you have inside your pickup bed. Also the privacy so nobody kind of glances in there or sees something and they're like, Extra storage space, not enough room in the cab, put it in the bed. Keep the wind from blowing it away with a bed cover. And also retractable, one-piece lids. Hard folding, hard and soft roll-up bed covers. Removable, paint to match as well. CreateACommotion.com online, 220 Lake Air Drive, their location. It's worry-free purchase at Pickup Outfitters, serving Waco now for over 20 years, including all professionally installed with Pickup Outfitters lifetime installation, guarantee and free warranty assistance. Learn more about bed covers and see the displays at their showroom, 220 Lake Air Drive, or go again to createacommotion.com/covers. Jay Arrett bought the business, of course, done a great job. They've invested inside their business to make it bigger, better, faster, stronger, cleaner, and their areas, the bays in the back, are phenomenal. Pickup Outfitters, 220 Lake Air Drive, createacommotion.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel & Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel & Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel & Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
It takes
takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance, and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, bod pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Happy birthday to Baylor assistant head coach Joey McGuire. Cedar Hill great, championship coach, now at Baylor. Happy birthday to him. Son Garrett, a quarterback at Baylor. We're now joined by Amos Davidson, the head football coach at Gerald. Amos is now a part of the district that includes Robinson and China Spring and Conley, among others. Salado right next door and away. Paul Catalina, Craig, and David Smoke on SicEm365 Radio. So you guys are growing in that area. Did you expect, you knew back at the end of the fall you'd go up to 4A Division II. When you saw the district, was that kind of what you expected, Amos?
Yes, sir. You know, like every coach, we mapped it out. And, you know, we could either go north or we could go south, and the trend is we've been going north. And so, you know, we expected to be up there with these guys.
5-5 last year. You've now been able to kind of get your feet on the ground and plant some roots. And do you feel like you're starting to see, and this is going to be a tough stretch for you because of who's in the district, but as you're growing, you get bigger as well, get more players. Do you feel like you've kind of planted your roots in the ground where now this might be a year you see a little bit more?
Yes, sir. You know, we've been a game out of the playoffs the last 2 years, and in probably one of the toughest 3A districts in the state of Texas. And so, you know, I think it's prepared our guys pretty well. You know, obviously going to 4A and playing in the district that we're going to be playing in, it's going to be tough week in and week out. But, you know, we got confidence in our guys, and they're excited about the challenge.
Coach, how have you just personally been handling everything going on, all the craziness, so to speak? How have you personally, as the head coach, and also just your staff and program, been dealing with everything?
You know, it's been stressful. You know, the week the UIL came out and said we were good to go, and then, you know, you had counties shutting down, and I lost 4 of my first 5 ball games
And so, that week was stressful of replacing those games. And, but, we went to work, the week of coaches school, and said, we're planning to come back Monday until we hear something different. And so as coaches, we were getting prepared, until we heard that we weren't going to be there. We were preparing for season as is.
Yeah, that's been the McLennan County thing really kind of threw everything for a loop. I know Don Hyde is still looking for a game. He's even talking about playing a 5A Cal Allen at neutral site, maybe. And it's still a mix. And some of this in this district, your district, in fact, Shane Anderson told me this, Amos, that earlier this week you guys decided to move the district schedule up a week to create a buffer before the district, but also create kind of a buffer after what would be the last game before the playoffs?
Yes, sir. If a school shuts down and can't play a game, we wanted to be able to make sure that we had that planned date to try to get that game in. And, the way we're kind of reading the rule is, if the school gets shut down for 2 games, then we got to go on a rolling schedule almost and play a game every 5 days. And so we wanted to at least give ourselves 1 week at the end of the season to make sure we can make up any game that we might need to.
Gerald, now this is your 4th year. You've been at Hendrickson, Gerald, a couple of different times as an assistant coach. When you were there as a defensive coordinator and also early on in your career, is that just a place you kind of just felt like you'd migrate back to?
Well, it just always kind of opened up for me. It was my first job in 2009, and then I had the opportunity to go back home and went to Salina for a year. And then, our athletic director at the time, Drew Sumner, called me and got me to come back. And my wife's from this area, and so it's pretty close to home for her, and so she was excited anytime we could get into this area. But Coach Sumner's been good to me, and pretty much every time I've gone away, he's brought me back.
I saw this. You fill out a form that I asked you to do, and I know it's annoying as hell for the coaches to do this, but I said, have you been a part of any state championship as a head coach, assistant coach, or player in any sport? And you listed 2005, a 1,600-meter state championship. Was that you individually?
Yeah, that was me individually. I've had a couple of athletes that I coached that have won state and track, but those are the only state championships I've been a part of.
1,600. That's the mile, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What would you like, Jim Ryan? The guy. What did you? I'm curious. Do you remember your? I bet you have to know your time when you won a state title, right?
Yes, I ran a 4:28 at the state meet that year.
Woo!
That's one of my laps. That's a quarter mile for me.
Man. Yeah, if I run under an 8-minute mile, and I did an 8-minute half marathon on average, and I thought my heart was going to come out, and still not so sure it's ever calmed down. All right, so you've got everything under control. You guys have been practicing. Did you guys started this week as well, like most everybody?
Yeah, yes, sir. We were able to start on Monday. We weren't shut down those 2 weeks, and so we got practice in.
Tomorrow, helmets.
Tomorrow we're in Shell. We've been in Shell for 2 days. We were able to start Shell with the new way they'd done the first 5 days, and so we went Shell the last 2 days. Tomorrow we can add person-to-person contact, but not full contact, and then Saturday we get full contact.
Yeah. Well, it's fun, man. It's just keep going, stay focused. I know you guys are doing everything you can to stay safe. Amos, thanks for being a part of the show. We'll see you hopefully at the end of the year down at your place at Gerald in a game with Conley. Thanks for your time and have a great week.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
That's Amos Davidson at Gerald. And by the way, they've got, I think it's Brenda, who is the athletic administrative assistant. It's always been Brenda Cooper, who has always been so good about helping me get information, even academic all-stars type of stuff. One other high school college note. I mentioned Joey McGuire's birthday. J.B. Brown, the former linebacker at Midway last night, I had been given kind of a heads up that he's probably going to this place. He's transferring from Navarro to Arkansas State to play for Blake Anderson.
Yeah, we had kind of talked about this right when we interviewed him a few weeks ago, that you had kind of alluded to it, and he acknowledged that, it might be a possibility. And I think just with the I hate using that word. I'm so tired. We're all tired of that word. What's going on? especially being a JUCO player, if you have the opportunity to go D1, I would do so in an absolute split second. So, that's not a surprise, really, and that's great for JB. That's great that he already knows his future landing spot. He doesn't have to go through that process once again, and Blake Anderson, we all know and respect him. That'll be great for him.
Wow, who sent this? You or
I did.
Rondale Moore from Purdue. He is a dude now.
He's fantastic.
He is opting out, Paul?
Yep. I'm going to focus on the draft.
Let me tell you something. I saw him destroy Nebraska. Of course, who hasn't? But he's just a really good player, fantastic player.
He was a Texas commit
yes,
for the
he
longest
was.
time, and then at some point before signing day, he flipped to Purdue. That was pretty, because I don't care how many people that jumped in like we typically kind of do. Oh, well, that opens up a spot for another guy, or we'll get somebody better. He wasn't going to see playing time behind so-and-so. And I don't know how much of that there really was. I'm sure there was some for Texas fans bitter over him decommitting, but anybody who said anything along those lines about Rondale Moore was dead wrong, because that dude is a freak show. He is unbelievably good, and that is a loss to college football this year, in my opinion.
He's a Heisman Trophy type of player.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because if they were to be good.
Hey, you think Jeff Brom right now is just...
Well, here's the thing, too. He missed so much time last year. That we didn't get to see nearly as much as we should have seen. His freshman year, he accounted for over 1,200 yards. I mean, he was just ridiculous.
350 against Nebraska.
Yeah, and then last year he only got to play in a handful of games. So
that's a big deal.
Yeah, no, I mean, so even if he would have had a great year last year, especially coming off a year where he did not do exactly what he was expected to, it just makes sense. He's eligible. We know he's fantastic. He'll maybe be a first-round pick. I don't know how he's kind of viewed. I would imagine he probably will be, though. But, yeah, that's a big loss for college football.
Golly, he is spectacular.
Mm-hmm. A lot
really
of fun.
Good player. So he's opted out. That's the kid from Penn State, the linebacker, Parsons, Guerrero. Paul, what did I his name down in
Micah Parsons?
No, in Miami. The kid you mentioned, but that's a big name.
I've got it right at the tip of my tongue.
All right, that's okay. Coming up next from San Francisco, the PGA Championship. We'll mention that name when you get back. Art Strickland, Baylor alum, will join us. SicEm365 Radio.
It's summer. Time to go somewhere in a new Jeep from Allen Samuels. It's our huge summer clearance event featuring 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days on our hottest models. Pick a new 2020 Jeep Cherokee Latitude with $5,750 in total value, or 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or the fun 2020 Jeep Renegade with up to $7,000 in total values, or 0% for 72. Adios 2020s from Allen Samuels.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else. Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace, also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great price chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated, Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lakeview Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors that Baylor trusts, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, PGA Championship going on at Harding Park in San Francisco. I played golf with Art Strickland this past weekend, played 9 holes with him at Bear Ridge as they're trying to turn that course around. And, of course, now you can actually see where there are fairways and greens with what Tommy Tompkins is doing. Jason Day, early on today, went out and shot 65. Scotty Scheffler, Martin Keimer, Schauffele, Bud Colley, among others, a bunch of 4 under par, including Koepka, Justin Rose, and then Tiger had 2 under par, nice steady round, had a couple of shots that got loose, but he putted well. And then on the course right now, DeChambeau, Mickelson, among some others, and Art Strickland, Baylor alum, is there at Harding Park in San Francisco covering the PGA Championship. Art, thank you very much for your time. It looks like no one's gone nuts today. No one went out and shot some silly round. It's hard to do that with a rough. But your thoughts about what you've seen so far today, but a lot of guys have gone under par.
Yeah, not a lot of surprises, really smoky. I mean, I think what you usually see in a major is a cream rising to the top. You know, you're going to throw in a fluke winner every now and then, but 80-90% is going to win a major. And so that's why you have Jason Day obviously shot